Good morning, good evening, and hello everybody to those who are connected to this video. Lost in Random, the Eternal Die review. So this is about the dice, the strategy, and repetition. Lost in Random is a fresh take on the previous Lost in Random game, but adds a roguelite spin and puts the player in the position of the late game's antagonist. Fans of the overactions roguelites such as Hades will find the general action and progression familiar, but the Eternal Die adds in few unique elements that play its own roots in a dark gothic fantasy world full of twisted interpretations or common games like chess, dice, and more. I was thinking about that the differences between roguelites and roguelikes. I don't claim to be an arbiter of the video games genre, but I can at least offer one interpretation. A roguelike traditionally presents no forms of progression between rounds, while in the Rogue Elite, the player can improve their chances of progression between runs, while in Rogue Elite, the players can, improve health, other stats by unlocking new and more powerful abilities. The beauty of a roguelike, it's even one has an equal chance of success from the first to the last. It comes down to luck, game knowledge, and practice. A roguelike can be great, but if it requires more patience and balance, roguelike may be more difficult with a fewer upgrades unlocked, but it can still give a good feeling of progression. It's well balanced overall. So Lost in Random, the Eternal Die falls into the latter, a roguelike rather than a roguelike. The early hours of the game are the most challenging and frustrating. Players should expect to take several runs to learn how the game works for the earn few upgrades before reaching the first boss becomes more regular. But these early hours are worth pushing throughout because the Eternal Die has well-crafted world, clever mechanics, and satisfying action. It's a game that's worth your time whenever you're a fan of genre or not. Everything is in Eternal Die is a game. Not only you are playing a video game, but the protagonist Alexandra shows the game as well. So Mara the Knights has trapped her a realm of twisted memories. She can find her way out, but Mara will always send her back if she fails. He feeds on her anger, frustration, and hopelessness. Of course, a villain from this world set up a genre to torture his captivities, but it extends even further. Throughout each run, you find various artifacts that give you a passive bonuses. This is not unusual for a roguelike, but what makes the Eternal Die stand out is how you organize them in your inventory. You start with an empty grid, and each artifact has up 3 colors which correspond to various stats such as weapon damage, dice damage, or the other abilities. These colors don't mean much, but if you can place 3 artifacts in the same color in a row, then you gain an extra 50% bonus to the stat. This match 3 inventory management's minigames adds an extra layer of puzzle and strategy what could be choosing whichever artifact is the strongest. And finally, with each run, you encounter random assortments of rooms. You can choose which room to explore and which in order. Most of them are full of enemies, but there are a few options like a short shop or mini boss or the mini game, and there are a few different games. One you roll the dice, and the higher the number, the greater the challenge, but the reward to compensate. Another plays like a classic board game, move a piece long on the track and gain rewards for each place you land on. The irony of playing a game within the game is not lost on me. Stay with me. The Eternal Die doesn't not shy away from its creative world building, where almost everything is in some way related to the game. Here are the several keys ways to deal damage in Lost in Random, the Eternal Die. First, you have your basic weapon. You start with the sword, but eventually can unlock 3 others: the bow, the hammer, and the lance. They each have their strengths and weakness, but I always enjoy the hammer. It's shaped like a 20-sided dice, so maybe it just speaks to me as a Dungeon and Dragon fans. Next is Fortune. So when transferring outside of the combat, Fortune will also follow you around. But when the combat breaks out, Fortune sticks with you like a backpack. Toss Fortune into the higher roll, the higher damage is, deals in the area of the effect, but during the combat you have to get close enough to a Fortune to pick her up again. Artifacts will offer an extra to certain dice rolls. A common one I found added the burn damage whenever you roll a 1 or 2, which helps to make the bad luck of a rolling low damage sting a little less. Finally, you can have one card equipped at the time. There are handy up options, but you deal on randomly at the start of each run. Each ward typically has one room to offer the option to swap out for another random card. These effects will vary, but all of them have a normal and a perfect effect. So hold the button down until the right moment to activate the perfect effect. This could be anything from the extra damage, extra projectiles, or bonus side effects. I decided to focus on the fortune and the basic weapon attacks, so I often chose artifacts that enhance those options whenever I can. The Eternal Die is built on randomness. After all, Alexandra was the queen of the random, but there are always ways to hedge your skills bets. You can predict a dice roll perfectly, but you can make sure that even if you only roll an no or two, you're still getting something of it. So the practice basically makes perfect, and one of the downsides of Lost in Random is the gameplay loop repetition. I remember when I first beat the first boss, I wondered if it would serve as a checkpoint. Would my next run start the second ward? Unfortunately not. Every run starts in the first ward, which wouldn't be that much trouble, but after several hours it does starts to get predictable. So I also should mention about the cons. Runs and get repetitive, especially later in the game. Story can be somewhat disjointed in delivery and won't be sequel some fans might be looking for. And pros, it's a clever update, management minigame, challenging but satisfying action, and expands upon a unique world created for the original. And yeah, so that's pretty much it about my opinion about this game. And well, thank you so much. Have a good one. Peace.